let's talk about my November TBR. It's a week into November already, so I figured I should probably get this video up. First, I'm going to pick the show I'll be watching for November. This dog is full of shows I've started but have not finished. If I pick more than one show, that's when I get confused and I end up watching nothing because I can't have choices. So I'm only picking one and hopefully I will finish it. And that will allow me to finish 12 shows per year, which isn't a lot. But if I finish a show in a month, I'll probably pick another one. The show I'll be watching for November is Nurse Jackie. Okay, maybe I will pick another one because I actually only have one season of Nurse Jackie left. I'm not a huge fan of the show, to be honest. I think it got very repetitive, and yeah, but that's what we'll be watching for November. And after Nurse Jackie, I will watch Jessica Jones. Cool. I'm almost on season 1 of Jessica Jones. I was enjoying it a lot. I really like David Tennant. So that will be what I watch after I finish the last season of Nurse Jackie. Now for my TBR Jar prompts, reading prompts. I think I'm going to pick 6 for this month. Alright, I don't have any readathon plans yet for November, so yeah, I think I can afford to pick 6 from here. And then if I do find a readathon, I'll still have a little bit of leeway. So my first prompt is to read a Kasie West book. Huh. I didn't even know I put Kasie West in here. To be honest, I know she writes a lot of kind of frothy romance things, and that's not really my genre, but I guess I'm going to try one anyways. As I mentioned before, her books have never really called to me, so I'm actually surprised that I put this in the jar, but here we go, who knows. I'm going to be listening to the book By Your Side on Script. I believe this book features an enemies to lover romance and takes place over the weekend where 2 kids get locked in a library together and start to develop feelings for each other. That sounds pretty cute. I like the whole like locked in concept. Those used to be some of my favorite episodes of television, so I'm kind of into this. And I think the audiobook format will work for me with this because otherwise I'm not sure I would get through it. We'll see. Maybe by the end of this I will love Kasie West as an author like so many people do. The second one is something with LGBTQ+ rep. Always a good thing to get, and I'm sure I have lots of those. The Foxhole Court by Nora Sakavic. So I believe that this is some kind of male-male sports romance, but I think it's a fake sport, kind of like Quidditch. And I believe there's also some sort of mafia or mob storyline, and the main character is trying to hide out at this boarding school. I know that this is supposed to be like trashy, good, fun, and I know it's very much like a cult favorite here on BookTube. I've never read it, but I picked it up on Kobo on an ebook. And I'm always down for a trashy good time, so. To read a comic. That's something I would do anyway, so perfect. I have 3 comics on this list that I'd really like to read. The first is Blackbird, which I actually already read the first issue to and really, really liked. I've now read the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th issue, and to be honest, I'm not really loving them, but I'll get into why obviously in my wrap-up. This is about a girl once upon a time who saw between this veil that exists in this world and saw that there are these gods and things. I don't know, there was a word for it, but now I've forgotten them. Paradigms? I don't know. Anyways, she's become obsessed with it ever since. It's years later, and all of a sudden her sister gets taken by one, and the story kind of takes off from there. But I really liked in the first issue how they kind of were talking about addiction as well, and the artwork is gorgeous. Probably one of my favorite palettes and stuff that I've seen in comics. Unfortunately, I'm not enjoying the other issues I've read. The second comic on my list is Die. I've started reading it already as well, and it's kind of going the same way as Blackbird, where I really loved the first issue, but I haven't liked the issues after that. This is about a group of kids who kind of get trapped in a Dungeons and Dragons game. They get stuck in this game for 2 years, and when they finally come back to the real world, one of their friends is still stuck in the game. And then it jumps forward 25 years later to when they're in their 40s, and all of a sudden they get sucked back into the game. And like I said, that's the first issue, and that really excited me, but the other ones not so much. The third comic that I want to read this month is Skyward. Skyward is basically just about a world where gravity has become a fraction of what it used to be. I haven't read any of this comic yet, so I don't know much about it, but I know that it is very well loved, so hopefully I will enjoy it as well. I bought all of these comics on Comixology app. Adaptation. So I have to read something that has been adapted into a movie or TV show, and then I have to watch said movie or TV show. That's always fun. Another thing I pulled from my TBR jar is adaptation, and for this I'm going to read Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. My boyfriend's been bugging me to get to this one because he did not like it at all, so hopefully I like it a bit more, but obviously after I read it I will be watching the movie adaptation as well. I know that obviously this has to do with a guy who dies who has this like really famous game, and he says that there is a fortune to be won through this game, through all these like codes and puzzles and whatever, so a bunch of people are trying to figure it out. And I dropped the book. And obviously our main character is one of those people. I started reading this but didn't get very far in, so anyways, I'm a little late on the train and it's definitely time I get around to this. So I've picked 4 so far? Yep. The next one is a banned book. So a book that's been banned somewhere. That means I'm actually going to have to do some research for that one. I actually forgot to grab one, but something on my list was already a book that had been banned. So what I'll be reading for this prompt is A Wrinkle in Time. A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine. I read that this book is banned in a lot of places for being both too religious and anti-Christian. I'm not gonna lie, even though this is a classic children's book, I don't know a lot about it. I know that there's obviously an adaptation of it now, and I will probably watch it after I read this book. It's a very short book, so I should be able to get through it pretty quickly, which I'm glad for because I put way too many books on this list. And I'm kind of looking forward to reading something that's more like middle grade or children's, because I don't get to read a lot of books like that. I mean, by choice, obviously, but I'm interested, especially since I never read it before. And my last prompt for November is something with mental health rep. I definitely have a lot of these books because things with mental health related issues are usually pretty interesting to me. And for that I chose Forgive Me Leonard Peacock Forgive Me Leonard Peacock by Matthew Quick. I know this is about a boy who decides that he is going to kill his best friend and then himself. So obviously there is some mental health issues in this as well, and I've heard very good things about this book, even though I've never read it. I feel like not as many people talk about it anymore, but a lot of people used to talk about it. I love books that take a look at serious topics like this, so I'm very interested to get to this one. It's something I've always wanted to read, but hadn't got around to, so hopefully I get to it this month. Now to get into the other books I'd like to read this month. This month is kind of a mess, I think. First of all, I put way too many books on this list, as usual, but I also kind of want to finish some of the books that I've put down throughout the rest of this year so that I can figure out what exactly I want to DNF by the end of the year. So, I don't know how much is going to get read and whatever, but we'll figure it out. The book that I've already started reading, and I'm actually almost all the way done, is A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallaro. This is a kind of retelling of Sherlock and Watson. It's basically a take on Sherlock and Watson's descendants. The main character, Jamie Watson, and Charlotte Holmes end up going to the same school and having to solve a murder that they're being blamed for. I thought for sure I was going to love this book, but I very much do not, unfortunately. But I will obviously talk about it more in my wrap-up. Yeah, I'm not a fan. But luckily I'm almost done it. I have 50 pages to go, and then I can put it down and move on. I only put one smutty book on this list, which is crazy, but the smutty book on this list for this month is Dominic by L.A. Kasie. Honestly, this is basically just a boxer romance, which I've read one of before and I really enjoyed it, so that's why I picked up this one, and I'm hoping I'm gonna love it. The next book on my list is All Systems Red by Martha Wells. This seems to be a very beloved book. It is a sci-fi book in a distant future. All I really know about this book is that it takes place from the perspective of a security android who's very self-aware and witty and calls herself Murderbot. I don't read a ton of sci-fi, but I figured this one might be up my alley a little bit since it is supposed to be kind of funny, and I believe the book is also really short, which helps. I bought this one on ebook through Kobo, and if I like it, then I'll definitely pick up the rest of the series. The next book on my list is He Said, She Said by Erin Kelly. I read The Poison Tree, I think it was called. Maybe not. I read another book by Erin Kelly, and I absolutely loved it. It wasn't The Poison Tree, though. It was her other one. I can't remember the name of it, but I really, really liked it. It surprised the hell out of me. Like, I did not see one of the twists coming at all, so I really wanted to pick up another book of hers, and this one really interested me. The book seems to take place in two different timelines, in the past and present, where this couple see something and intervene, and the victim ends up coming into their lives months later to thank them. And then the other timeline is in the present, where they're kind of living off the grid, because obviously something happened in the past, which I'm assuming we'll have to wait to figure out what. I love a good thriller, and this one sounds up my alley. The next book on my list is The Line Between by Tosca. This is one of the ones I think I'm most excited to read this month. This is about a girl who escapes a doomsday cult, but then emerges into the world to find that, like, the apocalypse has happened, basically, and now she must survive it. That just sounds so cool. I'm so excited. This is a series. I wish it wasn't, because I never end up finishing series or going anywhere with them, but I'm very, very excited for this one. I bought it on sale as an ebook on Kobo, just like pretty much every other ebook I buy. She ends up working with a military man to kind of survive, I guess, and I'm assuming that maybe some romance will ensue. Who cares? Either way, I'm into it. The next book on this list is Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire. I'm assuming most people know what this book is about. It is very popular here on BookTube. It is a short novella, which, once again, I'm glad for short books on this list. This basically takes place in a world where kids go away to these magical realms and come back and have to deal with the real world, and I think they stay in a boarding school of some sort to deal with that. I hope I love it as much as everybody else does. The next book on this list is Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. Another book that I'm sure everybody knows what it's about because it is a BookTube darling. But I know that it has to do with a girl who goes to assassin school to get revenge for her parents' murders. I have no idea if I'm going to love this. I feel like I might not because I've heard about all these, because I've heard about all the footnotes and that's where shit drives me nuts. I know you can skip them, but like, that's even worse. So, don't know if I'll love this, but I'm excited to try, I guess. We'll see. You never know. I was surprised last month by a book I didn't think I'd love, so. The next book on my list is The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I've already started this book, but I'm only like 5% in, but like I'm already hooked. This is a book that I believe takes place from several different point of views as we watch Evelyn Hardcastle die again and again from different people's perspectives at this party, and we try to figure out who did it. I love whodunits. I've heard this compared to Agatha Christie. I've only read one Agatha Christie book, but I've been meaning to read more, and like the one I did read, I really, really liked. So I'm very, very pumped for this. I definitely think I will love this book. But who knows, I've been wrong before. And the last book on this list is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I'm already a quarter of the way through the audiobook for this. I listened to it a while back and I'm not crazy about it, but I don't hate it either. So we'll see how I feel about it once it's done. I know other people absolutely adore it. So far I'm just finding it a bit cliched, but I still like some of the characters enough that I want to keep going and I definitely want to finish it. So that's my TBR for November. I am sure I will not finish all these books, but you know, let's be hopeful. Well, I hope you liked this video and I hope you'll come back to see my wrap up. Thanks.